Hello everyone, welcome to Dark Fate Tarot. You are joining me on the end of a cold, brisk, beautiful day in Brussels. Welcome to new subscribers, welcome back to those who already know me. So yes, I'm going to dive straight into it. I am today looking at the deck Tarot Nuages by, hopefully don't butcher this, Niederman. This is a Russian artist and writer. They are, I understand, a tattoo artist as well. And they do ink creations, and I don't know where they specifically reside. I haven't looked that up, but I do believe, I think it is, they are residing in Russia. I saw this deck available at the end of 2021. I wanted it, but unfortunately Amazon made a mess of fulfilling the delivery. I didn't get it, and then of course we moved into spring. So as you all know, probably many of you know, nuage is the French word for cloud. With the S, it's clouds, it's plural. So I wanted to use this deck in winter. So here we go. We went to winter, end of 2022, beginning of 2023. And I bought this deck knowing I really, really wanted to use it. I'm so glad I got a copy of it. It's US Games deck. It retails around the €20 mark. So without further ado, I want to go into my use of this deck. Now, as you, those of you who already know me know that I pull, these are the backs before I forget, gorgeous backs. The backs match the rest of the deck. Thank you. So first of all, right off the bat, I just want to say that I pull a card every single day and I post it on Insta. I follow a challenge. Sometimes it's the Lion Hearts challenge, which is what I've been doing in January. And I want to say the very first thing, the artist is one of the few artists that I've known, like when I've used one of their decks, as I've used, every month I use a different artist, basically a different deck. This is one of the few times, or maybe the first time, where after the first or the second day of posting, because I always add the handle of the artist, and I always try to make sure that I mention them. They actually thanked me for using their deck. I mean, I've never had that before. I was humbled. I was like, well, thank you. So, thank you for your lovely, beautiful creation. So I just want to say that the artist is just very responsive and alert, which I just really appreciated. And other artists do also sometimes thank me, but this one really just struck a chord, that they acknowledged that I was using their deck, and I just thought I was humbled by it. But anyway, this deck, first of all, as you can see already, it is based upon, I think, more ink, tattoo style drawings. When I read the little guidebook that comes with the deck, the artist does say that they tend towards more the Tarot de Masse style. Personally, this is a pippish deck, but personally, because I'm not really a pip girl, it's not my thing so much. This deck, I didn't even think of it as a pip deck. I was like, oh yeah, all right, yeah. They're gravitating towards the Tarot de Masse style. I just found it such a fun deck. It was just so full. It just made me smile. It's a deck that made me smile in January. When a deck makes me smile in the middle of these cold, dreary, cloudy months, because, Belgium being Belgium, we're covered in cloud like most of winter. This deck just was really perfect. The one thing that you'll notice as I'm pulling the cards out is that it has a very muted color tone. Lots of grays, the sepia tone, reds, some orangey, rusty red, and then of course this mustard yellow, which I love and adore. I mean, the yellow in this deck is just wonderful. And, I'm someone that loves color. So this is technically a sepia deck. I love my black and white decks as well, but this deck just does color so well in its own kind of color range and tones. The shadow effect and the line work is gorgeous. I didn't buy this deck thinking I'm going to buy a work of art, but the more I work with it, the more I was just like, they have just done such a phenomenal job with this very intricate designs. I know this is so difficult to do, with tarot and then having to replicate it. And the other thing I noticed was, in the guidebook, they're alluding to the fact that they followed the Marseille style. Personally, when I was looking at the deck and working with it, it does not feel repetitive. For me, sometimes Marseille decks feel very, very repetitive. It's like the Six of Swords looks a lot like the Seven of Swords, looks like Eight of Swords. Okay. This is one of those pip decks which really I could see that they had put work in. Now, some people say pips with feelings. Personally, I'm not so much going to say pips with feelings, but they really took time to look at what a two of swords means for them. And so there is some looking at the RW. I think there's hints of RWS coming through. But I just think that I didn't feel like every sword looked the same. I didn't feel like every cup looked the same. That's what I'm trying to say. And also the other thing I need to remember to say is that according to the suits, you have creatures. So, with the swords, I saw a lot more gargoyles. With the cups, I'm going to see penguins. So, there is this kind of like allusion to different beings. We've got kind of like this elfish creature with the wands. That's what I'm seeing. So yeah, it's a very interesting deck because I really believe that the artist has gone to work in making sure that they, here's the penguins with the chalices, that they really, each card I think has been a work of art. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, such a long-winded way of saying. I mean, look at the 7 of coins here. Absolutely stunning. I have not seen pips like this in a really long time. I mean, maybe I need to see more Marseille decks, but I was just so impressed by this deck. Their colors and their shadow and their line work. So I have really enjoyed this. The guidebook is for me, the guidebook, and we're gonna read a little bit of it. It's very basic. If you're new to tarot, you might want to sit with a more meatier guidebook next to this. But at the same time, if you're not new, you want a sharpshooter deck, you want something clean that just gives you the message. I love this deck. Absolutely love it. I really, really cherish it. It's one of those decks which, there are decks which are like my favorites and all of those kind of decks. This is one of those decks that's kind of like, it slipped under the radar and it's just like, I'm going to be your friend. And I'm like, yeah, you can be my friend. You can come and hang out with me. Definitely. I like you. So it's given me some beautiful messages. I don't know, like I'm one of those people that sometimes with a deck, there's a connection and the connection is beautiful. The other thing I wanted to say is that because this was the first deck I used this year, when I pulled it out on the 1st of January and I shuffled, I had a card just shoot out. And I'm not going to say what it is because it's very personal, but that is my card of the year basically, and it was just, I wasn't asking a question, but it's almost like the deck said, you're not asking a question, but I'm going to give you an answer. I mean, when a deck does that, you're just like, I love you, definitely. So this is just a deck that I really, really liked and enjoyed working with. I'm not going to let go of it anytime soon. I just feel so happy having used this deck, and I was not expecting it. I sometimes have these moments that some of you who know me from this channel, I really like to do a palette cleanse where I have a moment where I kind of like strip back down. I don't want fussy decks. I don't want 200-page guidebooks and all of that. I just want a very clear, crisp deck, and this hit the spot perfectly. So happy to have used this. I have other sharpshooter decks. For example, I have the Lightseers deck, which is very different in its own right. Beautiful deck. But I need to do a video on energies and how my energies work with decks. And I think it varies from person to person, but I think I can give some guidelines perhaps on what to look out for, because I really have that where with some decks, they really speak to me in a certain way. This deck, I didn't have to do an interview or anything like that. I didn't feel like I needed to understand them. This deck was like, I'm here. Let's have some fun. It's January. It's cold outside. Let's make it cute. And it was just a delight. It was a treat to work with this. So I thank the creator for creating something so much fun in a very Marseille, pip, ink, tarot style, like sepia tones, and it's fun. I mean, like, that's so cool. Look at that. I mean, I always say with kind of like cards like this, it would have been so easy for them to have just done 8 cups and slapped them on. But you can see here how much time they've taken to really give distinguishable faces. And this penguin is walking away, or here with the 5 of coins. Again, each coin has its own intricate design. and and they feel left out, desolate. So the artist, I think, really captures the emotion in such a simple way. And I mean, look at that Queen of Wands. I love the Queen of Wands. She is my card, as in like, she is my court card. And yeah, she's my significator. And yeah, so anyway, I did have some comments on Insta with people saying that they were very interested in this deck, and I always label the deck, but sometimes it gets missed, but I do label it. So, if you want to find out more about the artist, do please look. I will also put the name of the deck below. I think that, as a mass market deck, and I love US Games decks, I love their card stock. I know not everybody does. I personally love it. It is thin, it is slippery, but it's just, for me, I just love it. And yeah, I'm so glad that I had this deck to work with. So it's a bit of a short review actually, because it's not something that I think it's not that kind of like deck where we've got a 200-page guidebook that we need to go through, but thank you. Sometimes I want to have something simple, and that's what the artist has delivered this time. Something simple. So let's go through the rest of the cards, and then what we're going to do is shuffle and give and do a card pull. Now, I'd like to know, do you have this deck? Do you have other tattoo style decks? This one has won my heart. I think it's gonna take a lot for another tattoo style deck to trump this one. Let's put it that way. I mean, look at that devil. Just look at the work done. Just beautiful. I can see why they were commissioned, or I don't know how they became a tarot, a tarot artist, basically, someone to create these 78 keys. But I can see how somebody spotted the talent, let's put it this way, and they've just done a really, I mean, look at that Four of Swords. This is one of the cards that really struck me before I'd even bought the deck. And there's the Hierophant. Okay, funny enough, the question today from the Lionhearts Challenge was, what is it that I'm kind of like neglecting in my self-care routine, taking care of myself? And the Hierophant popped out. And just yesterday, I had an exchange with somebody who said, maybe, I need to look at some things. And, it was very clear today when the Hierophant popped out that Tarot Nuages was giving me a message. There you go. So let's pull a card and look at the guidebook very, very quickly. Okay, so we're going to look at the World card. Beautiful. Now, whether we're looking at a major or minor arcana, what I've noticed is it's very much similar in terms of, the length of how much information you get. So it's pretty good like that. So here we go. World card, World card, World card. And I do know with the minors, we get some keywords, we get meanings and so forth, but and a reversal. We do get a reversal, but here we go with the World. Yes. Yeah, they're pretty similar, whether it's major or minor. So this will give you a flavor of what you're getting. So here we go. This is how much length you have per card. The World. A maiden named Creatilia. So yes, Neiman had also made the effort of giving each of the keys, the creatures, their own personality and character. Very clever. A maiden named Creatilia is levitating in the air. She is nearly nude, clothed only by a ribbon wrapped around her. She holds 2 scepters. Winds ruffle her hair and golden light emanates from her, shining in all directions. Behind her is a circle that symbolizes completion. In the corners, she is surrounded by an angel, an eagle, a bull, and a lion. The last 2 creatures were also seen in the chariot and the strength cards accordingly. All is balanced and lighted and completed here. Meaning: perfection, completion, abundance, success, triumph. Reverse: instability, failing to attain final results, cycles of fruitless efforts. This is just a great deck. Yeah, just a great deck. And look at the intricacy of the artwork. I mean, here's a court card. I mean, this artist is just divine when it comes to their art. Absolutely divine. Just, so yeah, and look at that beautiful star card. So I recommend this. If if this is the kind of artwork that draws you, of course, if it's not, then, each to their own. But I am very, very happy that I bought this deck. Very happy that I used it as my first deck, out of the gate, in January. It's really been a pleasure to work with. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you everybody who's joined me, and I will see you all next week at some point. Take care now. Bye.